Hey, welcome back. What day is it? It's Dare Day. Welcome to lesson 5 in your Dare book. Friends, we're going to be on page 13. Make sure you have a pencil ready. We're going to open up with this video. We're going to check in with Michael and see how he's doing.
Hey, what's up? Michael here again. I have a question for you. Have you ever had a really bad day? Well, today was one of those days. Today, at lunch, I picked up a carton of milk that had a hole in it. The milk started dripping out all over the floor. Not everyone was looking at me, so it wasn't a big deal. Until I stepped on the milk, slipped, and fell flat on the floor. Then, everyone looked at me. My face got all hot. My palms got all sweaty. I tried to laugh it off, but then slipped again, trying to get up. I guess it was pretty funny to look at, but I just wanted to scream at everyone to stop looking at me. My friend Daryl came over and helped me up and said, just ignore them. That helped a little, but wow, that was not fun.
Wow, I agree. That is not a good day at school. So let's think about this though. If Michael picks up this carton of milk, you know, that particular one, could that have happened to anybody? Well, yeah, you know, I mean, anybody could have picked up that carton of milk and drip, 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 right? And then slip, 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 down he goes. Poor guy. And then tries to get back up, slips and falls again. Man, I mean, you know, some people might think that this could be like a really embarrassing moment, all right, or frustrating, you know, for sure. And then the best part happens. This situation had a hero, and it was Daryl. Daryl comes in to save the day. He might as well have been wearing a big S for Superman on his chest, because he scoops him up off the ground and says, hey, man, don't worry about them. Like, no big deal. Just forget about it. And man, what an amazing guy in that moment to go against everybody who was laughing in the whole cafeteria and to be the one person to go over and help him up. So let me ask you a question. Would you have been the Daryl in this situation? Would you have the courage to go and do the right thing? Or maybe ask yourself this. How would you want to be treated in that situation? And that's exactly how we need to treat other people, right? So when we talk about adding all these feelings together, when we combine frustration and embarrassment and anger and sadness and all of these things that he was experiencing, we put them into one tight little thing. What's one word that we can use to describe that? Maybe you felt it through some of this virtual learning. Maybe you felt this through some of this recent pandemic stuff that we're going through with the coronavirus. But if you said the word stress, you're right. So Dare says that stress is any strain, pressure, or excitement felt about a situation or an event, all right? We've all unfortunately experienced this, but it's how we deal with this stress in life and deal with the things that come across us daily or weekly that really tells us how we're going to live in a healthy way, all right? So typically we take a second to play this brief game about stressful situations, but I do want to present them to you so that you can have these to think about. So the first stressful thing or potentially stressful thing I want you to think about is pressure to do well in competitive activities. So I want you to think about, does that almost always stress you out? Does that almost never stress you out? And I want you to take a second and think about those things, and I want you to think about how you handle that and how you can do better if you don't handle that well. So when we talk about competitive activities, we're not just talking about soccer games or something like that. There's competitive activities in school with even the PACER test or the PACER run. There's competitive activities with the science fair. There's competitive activities with the spelling bee. So how do you handle that pressure, and how can you deal with that in a healthier way? And we're going to talk about those things in a second, but I want to fast forward and give you a couple other potentially stressful situations to think about. Having to get up in front of the class. How do you handle that? How can you handle that in a better way? What about friends when they try to get you to do something that you don't want to do? Like Sophia in our last lesson. She did not handle the stress that came with that very well. She succumbed to that peer pressure. What about moving to a new school? There's an awful lot of stress that can come with that. Many of you have learned that. It's not just a new school. You're getting a new bus driver, a new teacher, new friends on your street. You're leaving old friends. Ugh, right? And those things can be really stressful. So let's talk about how to identify some of this stuff, all right? So on page 13, what I want you to do is thinking back to that video. You see Michael sitting here in this puddle of milk. Poor Michael, right? And it says, what are the possible ways your body feels when you're stressed? They've started you out with frustration, so I want you to take a second and fill in some of those blanks. Maybe you're embarrassed or angry or sad or mad or whatever it is. I want you to take a second and fill out the rest of those blanks that are there. You can hit the pause button if you need to. I'm going to move on because it says, what are some possible actions that might show that you're feeling stress? Maybe you start to act differently. Maybe you're a stomper or a thrower. And then it says, what are some possible ways to relieve stressful feelings? So watch me carefully for a second because I'm going to do this. I want you to write down the thing that makes you feel like that. Maybe you listen to music. Maybe you have to punch a pillow. Maybe until you feel better. Maybe you take a nice warm bath bomb bubble bath, right? Maybe you like to go ride your bike and just feel the breeze on your face and through your hair. Maybe you like to talk it out with a friend, all right? Maybe you like to go read a good book. I've learned this about fifth graders. Fifth graders have this incredible ability to check out and go take a nap when they're stressed. I do not know how you do that, but if you have that trait, do not lose that trait. I wish I could do that, but I can't. My mind can't rest like that. So if you've had that figured out by now, good for you. All right, I want to share a quick story though about one of my brothers growing up. He knew how to make me mad, and he was very talented at it. He can make me mad in about 0.2 seconds, right? And I'm going to do a little bit of walking here, sir. So my brother Paul would make me mad, and we lived in a 2-story house. And when he would make me mad, I'd go upstairs, right? And I'd stomp up the stairs, stomp, 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 because I want everybody in the house to know how mad I am. And my room is all the way at the end of the hallway. So I'd stomp, 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 all the way to the end of the hallway. I'd get to my door, I'd slam my door, I'd turn up my music in my room, and I'd go over to my bed, I'd throw myself on my bed, I'd scoop up my pillow, and I'd start punching my pillow. And I'd be like, oh, I'm so mad at him, he's such a jerk, why does he have to be such a jerk, right? Until I felt better, and I was like, oh, finally, like I was exhausting myself, right? So I handled my stress probably pretty close to something that you've done, or one of those things that you've done. So if you're struggling to answer the middle part where it says what are those actions that you do to act differently, well, mine I would write, and for me, stomp my feet, slam my door, blare my music, punch my pillow. Those are some thoughts that I have. If you share those, you can write those down too under that middle part where it says, what are those possible actions that might show that you're feeling stress? So on page 14, you guys have this, this open image in your book, which is a really cool opportunity for you guys. Because what I want you to do here, and you can hit the pause button so that you have a second to work on it. I want you to grab your markers or your colored pencils or something fun that you like to color with, crayons. Because it says draw a picture, write a poem, or write a song. And what I want you to do is I want you to draw a picture, write a poem, or write a song about your favorite way to de-stress. So I'm going to give you some time to go ahead and do that. You can hit the pause button if you need to and get that information or color that page, show me that picture on that page. When you're through with that, please turn to page 15. What I want you to do is on page 15, you have 4 situations here, all right? So I want you to read these 4 situations. I want you to flip your flap. And then I want you to answer the questions on this page, on page 16. So you're gonna pick any one of these situations, but just pick one. And I want you to answer the questions here. You guys are gonna see some new stuff this week though. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna write situation, right here, the number that you're going to work on, And then it says pause. Pause is new to you guys this week. And it says, what could you do or say to yourself? So after reading the situation, before you do anything, what could you do in that pause moment? So I'm going to talk about that here up on the board for a second. So in that pause moment, here's some ideas of some things that you could do. Count to 5 to slow things down. Walk away from the situation, give yourself time to calm down. Tell yourself you can do it using positive self-talk, or put your head down on your desk for a moment and until you can kind of reset. So those are some ideas of things you can write in the pause line. Under define, so that's where you're going to go back to your DARE decision-making model. You're going to define the problem. Under assess, you're going to write your choices. Under respond, you're going to make a responsible choice there and list it. And then under evaluate, you're going to reread your work, and if you made a good choice, you're simply going to write the words good choice. All right? So again, you're only picking one of these. You can I want you to read them all and pick one of them to work through some of those answers that are going to be on page 16 that you list. Now, at this time, I want you to turn, please, to page, unflip your flap, go to the very back of your book, close your book, go back one page, and you will be on your glossary. So we have some words of the day I want you to fill in. Well, one word of the day. Our word of the day was stress. And I just want to overemphasize to you guys to continue doing those healthy things to deal with your stress. All right, stress balls have become very popular over the years. You know, kids like to play with those stress balls, you know. And if that's your thing, then that's your thing, or a fidget or something like that. Whatever you can do, and when you get back to a regular classroom, just to calm yourself in that moment. And if you need to excuse yourself and go talk to the counselor, that's okay too if you're feeling stressed out. Unfortunately, stress is part of our life. But it's how you manage it that's going to allow you to live your life and to live your life in a healthy way. Again, I've got my email up here. If you guys need me or you want to email me about anything, please feel free to do that. I'd be happy to help you through a stressful situation that you might be struggling with. Or if you just have a question, or if you have a fun fact, please let me know what your fun fact is. I love fun facts. So after you get your word of the day, please move to your journaling. And it says 3 signs of stress that I learned today. Well, a sign of stress could be sweaty palms, like Michael said, a hot face, like a red face. A sign of stress could be you could feel your heart pounding inside of you, right? Those are all signs of stress. You're starting to get agitated. You can feel that boiling and boiling and boiling inside. But before you get to that moment where you, what I jokingly call a tea kettle moment, when that is all boiling inside of you like a tea kettle, and you boils and boils and boils and boils, you get to the top and it's like, ah, and you scream out like a tea kettle. But before you have that tea kettle moment, we really need to check ourselves and make sure that we are doing those things to calm ourselves down and bring us back to a nice, cool spot again before we say something or do something that we can't take back. If I scream, shut up, to somebody, I can't shove that back in. Damage is done, feelings are hurt, and I need to figure out how to deal with those that stress before I have that tea kettle moment. The next part says, in the upcoming week, it says 2 positive ways that I will deal with stress are ... So I want you to write down your 2 favorite ways that you can deal with stress that you might have or might encounter in the next week. All right, we're moving on to a video real quick. We're going to check in with Michael, see what's going on. Thanks for joining me. Here we go.
Sometimes I'm not very good under stress, but I am working on getting better. See you next time when we learn more about how to be confident, even when we're stressed. Remember, be safe and be responsible.
That's right. Be safe and be responsible. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about something really cool that we are going to, that we have been doing with one another and that you have been doing with your teacher. So, wonder what that could be. Stay tuned. All right. I'll see you guys next week. Be good.